Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive with us. Sometimes it feels like the world is a little obsessed with the wrong things.
Yeah.
Like we're all just chasing the next,
Mhm.
or buying the newest gadget.
hmm
There's got to be more to life than that, right?
Right.
Well, today we're going to dive deep into that feeling
Yeah.
and explore how even if things feel kind of messed up, each of us can actually make a difference.
Yeah. We'll be using this quote as a starting point.
Okay.
It is no measure of health to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society.
Wow. That's
It really challenges us to think about what success even means, when
Yeah.
the whole system might be a little off.
It's like, are we winning if we're playing by the wrong rules?
Mm.
And that's where fame comes in.
Fame.
Yeah, we're going to use fame as a lens to kind of examine this whole sick society idea. It might seem a little out there, but trust me, it'll make sense.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
So think about it. In a society that might be valuing all the wrong things,
Yeah.
what does it even mean to be famous?
It's a good question.
Does it mean you're just a product of that system? Or can you actually use fame to challenge the system?
Yeah, that's the heart of it, isn't it?
So let's break it down. When someone becomes famous in a sick society, what happens?
Well, they have two choices, really.
Okay.
They can either become a symptom of that sickness, amplifying the very things that are making society unhealthy,
Right.
or they can become an agent of change.
Okay, so like Greta Thunberg using her platform to talk about climate change. Exactly. That's an agent of change, right?
Absolutely. She's a great example of someone challenging the status quo and pushing for positive change.
Okay, so on the flip side, we also see a lot of examples where fame is built on things like wealth,
Yeah.
extravagance or just like outrageous behaviors. So
Yeah.
that would be more the symptom of the sickness.
Yeah, that could definitely reflect those sick values we're talking about.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So let's get real here. Is Western society healthy right now?
Well, it's a mixed bag, to be honest. I mean, Western societies have done amazing things in areas like technology, human rights, access to education.
Yeah.
Those are all positives, but we can't ignore the downsides either.
Yeah, for sure.
Like the mental health crisis, rising inequality, damage to the environment, this sense of division that just seems to be growing.
It's like we're winning in some areas but losing in others. So if you had to give Western society a health score, like on a scale of 1 to 10,
Oh, a health score.
what would it be?
I don't know if I can put an exact number on it,
Yeah.
but I'd probably say somewhere around a 5 or 6.
Okay.
There's definitely potential for healing. There are some concerning symptoms we need to address.
So not great, but not a complete disaster either.
Right.
Here's what worries me, though. If we are seeing more famous people who represent this sickness,
Yeah.
does that mean it's just going to keep spreading? Like, is it contagious?
It can feel like a virus, can it? Especially with social media and the news cycle constantly bombarding us with images and stories that push those unhealthy values.
So if it is like a virus, what can we even do about it?
Well, that's where things get interesting
Okay.
because it's not inevitable. There are forces pushing back against this sickness,
Okay.
like a societal immune system.
Interesting.
There's a growing awareness of the problems, a shift in values, especially among younger generations.
Okay.
People are demanding more accountability, and new platforms are emerging that are focused on, meaning and positive impact.
So it's not all doom and gloom. There's hope for change.
Exactly.
And that's where it gets personal, right?
It does.
Like, even if society feels sick, each of us has this choice
Yeah.
to either spread the virus or become part of the cure.
Exactly. This is where you come in.
Me.
Yeah. The listener. Your choices, your actions, they all contribute to the overall health of society.
Oh, wow. Okay, I like that. So it's like, even if we're not famous, we all have some kind of influence,
You do.
some kind of power to shape things.
Absolutely. You don't need millions of followers to make a difference. Your actions create ripples that can extend much further than you realize.
It's like the butterfly effect. Sure.
Yeah, exactly. Small changes can have big consequences.
Okay, so what are the possible futures here?
Yeah.
Are we headed for like a full-blown societal meltdown, or can things actually get better?
Well, based on what we're seeing, there are a few potential paths we could take.
Okay.
One is a worsening of the sickness, where we just continue to prioritize superficiality, division, short-term gains over long-term well-being.
Yeah, nobody wants that.
Right. That path leads to a pretty bleak future.
Okay, so what about the other paths?
Another possibility is a balance shift,
Okay.
where we see a growing awareness of the problems and a conscious effort to promote healthier values and behaviors.
Gotcha.
It wouldn't be a quick fix, but it would be a step in the right direction.
What are the best case scenario? What would a truly healthy society actually look like?
In a truly healthy society, fame wouldn't be about chasing trends or seeking validation. It would be about using your unique talents and passions to contribute to something bigger than yourself.
I love that. So how do we get there? How do we make that a reality?
That's what we'll explore in the rest of this deep dive. We'll break down the specific actions starting right now that can help shift the balance and create a future where fame is a force for good, a reflection of a healthy and thriving society.
I am so ready to dive into those actionable steps. What are some things that we can do like in our everyday lives?
Well, the first step is awareness.
Okay.
We need to be critical of the messages that we're constantly bombarded with, especially through social media and entertainment.
So like not just passively scrolling through our feeds, but actually being mindful.
Exactly. What values are being promoted?
Yeah.
Do they align with what you believe in?
So what if we see something that just feels off, like something that's glorifying unhealthy behaviors?
Don't be afraid to call it out. Unfollow accounts that promote negativity.
Oh,
Engage with content that uplifts and inspires you, and support creators who are using their platforms for good.
so being conscious consumers, basically?
Exactly. Making intentional choices about what we allow into our minds and hearts.
Okay, and that leads to the next step, which is what?
Supporting the right kind of role models.
Okay.
We were talking earlier about how some famous people are using their influence to make a real difference. We need to amplify those voices.
Yeah, so like sharing their work, donating to their causes, talking about them with our friends and family.
Exactly.
What are some examples of people who are using fame for good?
Well, we already talked about Greta Thunberg.
Right.
But there are so many others, like Keanu Reeves, known for his kindness and generosity.
Oh, yeah.
Or Dolly Parton using her wealth and influence to support literacy and education.
Love her.
And then you have Elon Musk pushing the boundaries of technology and innovation.
Right.
Or Jane Goodall dedicating her life to protecting chimpanzees and advocating for conservation.
So these are all people who are embodying the values that we want to see more of. So how can we support them?
Like you said, sharing their work, donating to their causes, talking about them with our friends and family.
Okay, cool. And it goes beyond just celebrities, too.
Yeah, it does. Think about the people in your own life who inspire you,
Yeah.
who are living examples of the values you want to see more of in the world.
Yeah.
Support them, learn from them, let them know how much they mean to you.
So it's about building that network of positive influence.
Exactly, both online and offline.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So what's the next step?
Taking responsibility for our own impact.
Oh,
We
yeah.
all have a sphere of influence, no matter how big or small.
Right.
It might be your family, your friends, your coworkers, your online community.
Okay.
How can we make sure our influence is a positive one?
Oh, be kind, be compassionate, be honest.
Yes.
Be a good listener. Be open to learning and growing.
It's about aligning your actions with your beliefs.
Yeah, be the change you want to see, right?
Exactly.
It's easy to get caught up in just talking about these things.
It is.
But how do we actually translate those values into tangible actions?
It's about making conscious choices in every aspect of your life.
Okay.
For example, let's say you're passionate about environmental sustainability.
Okay.
You could start by reducing your own carbon footprint,
Okay.
supporting businesses that prioritize eco-friendly practices, and advocating for policies that protect the planet.
So it's about looking at all areas of our lives and seeing where we can make a difference, even in small ways.
Exactly.
But what if we're not sure where to start? Or if our efforts are even making a difference?
That's where finding your purpose comes in.
Okay.
When you have a clear sense of purpose, it gives direction to your actions and helps you stay motivated even when things get tough.
Okay, I see what you mean. So back in the beginning, we were talking about how society can sometimes feel sick,
Yeah.
like it's focused on the wrong things.
Yeah.
So for all these mini influencers, how can we use our influence to help shift things in a more positive direction?
It's about being mindful of the messages you're putting out into the world, making sure they align with your values. Ask yourself, what kind of impact do I want to have on others? What do I want to be known for? Your actions, your words, your online presence.
Right.
They all contribute to the story you're telling.
It's like we're all creating our own personal brands, whether we realize it or not.
Yeah.
But instead of focusing on likes and followers, we can choose to build a brand that stands for something meaningful, something that contributes to a healthier society.
Exactly. And it's not about being perfect or having all the answers.
Right.
It's about being authentic, being willing to learn and grow, and using your influence, however big or small, to make a positive impact on the world.
That makes me think about all the different ways we can be role models.
Yeah.
Even without being famous or having a huge following,
Mhm.
it could be as simple as being a good friend,
Mm-hmm.
a supportive family member, or a mentor to someone who's just starting out.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that every interaction we have is an opportunity to make a difference. You never know who you might be inspiring or what kind of ripple effect your actions might create.
Okay, I'm feeling inspired,
Yeah.
but I have to admit, it can still feel overwhelming at times.
Yeah, I understand.
Like, how do we avoid getting discouraged or feeling like our efforts are just a drop in the bucket?
Remember that even small actions can have a big impact.
Okay.
It's like the old saying, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Focus on what you can control, make conscious choices, and celebrate the small victories along the way.
So it's about focusing on progress, not perfection,
Exactly.
and trusting that our collective efforts can create meaningful change.
Exactly. And remember, you don't have to do it alone.
Okay.
Connect with others who share your values, find your tribe, and support each other's efforts. When we work together, we can amplify our impact and create a more powerful force for good in the world.
This has been such an insightful conversation. I'm feeling empowered to really step into my role as a mini influencer and use my influence to make a positive difference.
Yeah.
But before we wrap up, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on the whole concept of fame
Yeah.
and how it plays into all of this.
Yeah.
Is it possible to be famous and still be a force for good in the world?
That's a great question and one that we'll delve into more deeply in the final part of our deep dive. We'll explore the different ways fame can be used for good and how we can all learn from those who are using their platform to make a positive impact. So stay tuned because we're just getting started.
So we've talked about how even small actions can create those ripple effects
Yeah.
and that we all have a sphere of influence. But how do we actually make sure that our influence, even if it's small,
Right.
is actually positive?
Well, it really starts with walking the walk.
Okay.
Actually embodying those values that you want to see more of in the world. Being kind, being compassionate, being honest, being a good listener, being open to learning and growing.
Right. It's about aligning our actions with our beliefs. It's like that
Yeah.
classic saying,
Yeah.
be the change you want to see.
It's
But it's so easy to just talk about these things. How do we actually put them into practice?
It's about making those conscious choices in every single area of your life.
Okay.
Like, let's say, for example, you're really passionate about environmental sustainability.
Right.
You could start by reducing your own carbon footprint.
Right.
You could support businesses that are prioritizing eco-friendly practices.
Mm-hmm.
You could advocate for policies that are protecting the planet.
Yeah. So it's about looking at every area of our lives and seeing where we can make a difference,
Exactly.
even if it's a small difference.
Okay.
But what if we don't even know where to start? Or what if we're not even sure if our efforts are making any difference?
That's where finding your purpose comes in.
Okay.
When you have a clear sense of purpose, it gives direction to your actions and helps you stay motivated,
Yeah.
even when things get tough. It's like having a compass
Yeah.
that guides you toward what really matters.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this all connects.
Yeah.
Back in the beginning, we were talking about how society can sometimes feel sick, like it's focused on all the wrong things.
Right.
So for all these mini influencers,
Mm.
how can we use our influence to help shift things in a more positive direction?
Well, it's about being really mindful of those messages that you're putting out into the world
Okay.
and making sure they align with your values. Ask yourself, what kind of impact do I want to have on others? What do I want to be known for?
Right.
Your actions, your words, your online presence, they all contribute to the story that you're telling.
Yeah, it's like we're all creating these personal brands, whether we realize it or not.
You are.
But instead of focusing on just getting likes and followers,
Yeah.
we can choose to build a brand that stands for something that's meaningful, something that contributes to a healthier society.
Exactly. And it's not about being perfect
Right.
or having all the answers. It's about being authentic, being willing to learn and grow, and using your influence, however big or small, to make that positive impact on the world.
That makes me think about the different ways that we can be role models. Even without being famous or having a huge following, it could be something as simple as being a good friend,
Absolutely.
a supportive family member, or a mentor to someone who's just starting out.
It's about recognizing that every single interaction we have
Yeah.
is an opportunity to make a difference.
Wow.
You never know who you might be inspiring or what kind of ripple effect your actions might have.
Okay, I'm feeling really inspired, but I have to admit, it can feel overwhelming sometimes.
I can.
Like, how do we avoid burnout? How do we avoid getting discouraged or feeling like our efforts are just a drop in the bucket?
Well, remember, even small actions can have a big impact.
Okay.
It's like that old saying, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Focus on what you can control.
Yeah.
Make those conscious choices and celebrate even the small victories along the way.
So it's about focusing on progress, not perfection,
Exactly.
and trusting that all of our efforts together can create meaningful change.
Exactly. And remember, you don't have to do it alone. Connect with others who share your values. Find your tribe. Support each other's efforts. When we work together,
Yeah.
we can amplify our impact and create a much more powerful force for good.
I love that. This has been such an insightful conversation.
Yeah.
I'm feeling really empowered to step into my role as a mini influencer
That's great.
and use my influence to make a positive difference.
Yeah.
But before we wrap up, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on the whole concept of fame
Okay.
and how it plays into all of this. Is it even possible to be famous and still be a force for good in the world?
That is a great question, and it's one that we're going to dive into much more deeply in the final part of our deep dive.
Great.
We're going to explore all the different ways that fame can be used for good.
Awesome.
And how we can all learn from those who are using their platform to make a positive impact.
Okay.
So stay tuned because we're just getting started.
Okay, so we're back, and we're tackling this big question.
Yeah.
Can someone actually be famous and still be a force for good?
Right.
Sometimes it feels like those two things are at odds with each other.
You're right. It's a tricky balance. You know, fame comes with a lot of temptations
Yeah.
that can sometimes lead people down the wrong path.
Right, like the pressure to keep up a certain image,
Yeah.
the constant scrutiny from the media, the allure of all the wealth and excess.
It's easy to lose sight of what matters.
Yeah, totally. So is it even possible to be famous and stay grounded and, actually use your influence for good?
I think so.
Okay.
It all comes back to that sense of purpose.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We were talking about that.
Remember, when you have a clear purpose,
Yeah.
it becomes like your guiding star. It helps you make choices that are aligned with your values.
So someone like Dolly Parton would be a good example here.
Absolutely. She's a perfect example.
She's super famous.
Yeah.
But she also uses her platform to support things like literacy and education.
Exactly. She's managed to stay true to herself and use her fame to make a real difference.
And she's not alone.
Right?
We see other people doing this too.
Oh, yeah. There are so many others, like Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
He's known for his generosity and humility.
Leonardo DiCaprio's another one. He's always talking about climate change.
Yeah, using his platform to raise awareness about important issues.
So it seems like there are people who have figured out how to navigate fame while still staying grounded and making a positive impact. What can we learn from these folks?
I think the biggest lesson is that fame doesn't change who you are at your core.
Okay.
It just magnifies who you already are.
That's deep.
So if your values are aligned with making a positive difference,
Yeah.
fame can be a powerful tool to amplify those values.
I love that. So it's not about chasing fame for fame's sake.
Right.
It's about letting your values guide you.
Exactly.
And then if you do become famous, using that platform for good.
And remember, you don't have to be a celebrity to have a platform.
Right.
We all have one.
Yeah, that's true.
Whether it's our family, our friends, our community, our online network, we all have influence in some way.
So use it for good.
Exactly.
This whole conversation has really changed how I think about fame.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a bad thing.
It doesn't.
It all comes down to intention and how it's used.
Exactly. And remember, fame is fleeting,
Yeah,
but the impact we make on others that can last a lifetime.
that's a good point. So instead of chasing fame, let's focus on making a difference.
Right. Let's focus on building a legacy of kindness, compassion, positive change.
I love that. So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one thing you want listeners to take away from this conversation?
I want to encourage every single person listening to embrace their role as a mini influencer.
Yes.
You don't need millions of followers to make a difference.
Right.
Your actions, your words, your choices, they all have this ripple effect.
Yeah, we're all a part of this huge interconnected web.
We are.
And even the smallest acts of kindness can have these huge consequences.
Exactly. So go out there, be the change you want to see.
I love it.
Embrace your purpose. Use your influence for good. And let's create a society where fame reflects our values.
Ah, that's beautiful. Well, thank you so much for joining us for another deep dive. We hope you learned something new and feel inspired to make a difference.
Yeah.
Remember, you have the power to create a brighter future. And until next time, keep diving deep.